Get started here. Thank you all for joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you who are well east of me in Washington, D.C. Welcome to a brief presentation and Q&A session on the PFM Foundation Course, a joint effort from ICGFM and PFM Training Limited. Before we start, I'd like to introduce the people responsible for the course, including Mike Perry, Director of PFM Training Limited and Course Director, Phil Bernier, Director of PFM Training and responsible for the eLearn system, and of course, Joanne Dunn, Managing Director of ICGFM. Mike, take it away.
Okay. Right, thank you and welcome everybody. The idea of this short session is to give you a bit of information about the PFM Foundation course that we have developed. I'm going to take you through this short presentation, then afterwards give you the opportunity to ask questions about it.
Mike, I'm sorry. I forgot a key piece there. I didn't introduce myself as the president of president-elect of ICGFM, taking over as president in the next month or so. And then please, for all of you who have questions, start typing them in the chat now, and we'll get to them as quickly as we can after Mike's presentation. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Laura. I just assumed everybody knew you. You're so well known. Anyway, yes, let's talk about the PFM Foundation course, which, as Laura said, has been developed jointly between ourselves, PFM Training Limited, and the ICGFM. A few key features, first of all. This is an e-learning course. E-learning, it works entirely on any internet-connected device. You don't have to have a computer. You can use a smartphone or a tablet computer. You don't need to download any particular app. You don't need a printer. The whole course is online, and that's an important feature. Secondly, it covers all of public financial management. It's a comprehensive course on public financial management at a foundation level. It assumes no prior knowledge because it's a foundation course. It's interactive, and I'll explain that a bit more in a moment. And it contains both progress and final tests. And those who complete the course, and again, I'll explain what that means in a minute, those who complete the course receive an ICGFM certificate as well as 50 CPE credits. Let's go through some of those points in a little bit more detail. First of all, the structure of the course. It's quite comprehensively structured, and it's based on a lot of practical experience of both general teaching PFM and e-learning PFM. It's divided into a series of modules. There are 6 modules in the foundation course. Each module has a workbook which complements the e-learning course, which you can read, you can download it, you can even print it if you want to print it, and it contains everything that we will be going through in that particular module. We do give you external references, but you don't need them. Then within each module, there are a series of sections. And within each section, there's a video lesson, a case study, and a quiz. The case studies, again, I will talk about a bit more in a minute. And at the end of each module, there's a progress test. So that's the 6 modules. And then if we look at the whole course, there are a number of features of the whole course. There's a discussion forum. So you can post any comments you've got, any questions you've got, which can be shared with other course participants. And obviously we review those and will answer any questions which other participants can't answer. There are online resources, both downloadable and links to other websites. And there's a final exam, which you have to do to complete the course. So that's the course structure. Who's it aimed for? Well, it's pretty broad, really. It's anyone who needs to understand PFM, and that covers quite a range of people. Obviously, students who are studying public governance, new and existing government staff who need to know about PFM, non-specialists in any organization who require a knowledge of PFM, advisors to government who require some knowledge of PFM, staff in development partners, or indeed any citizen or any civil society organization who needs to know something about PFM, public financial management. As you said, it's a foundation course, so it focuses on the basic course. The IMF describes this as the plumbing that underlines PFM, but the focus of this course is on how you actually perform the tasks in PFM. So it's very practical oriented. There is a diploma course, which we'll talk about separately, which will be for more advanced students. I've said it's comprehensive. What does the course cover? Well, we have online the detailed syllabus, and you can go and look at that if you go to the website. But the main subject areas, first of all, it deals with accounting for public money. The accounting process is both accrual and cash accounting, financial reporting and the standards, both the International Public Sector Accounting Standards and the IMF Government Finance Statistics. Obviously, planning and budgeting, a key part of PFM, the implementation of the budget, public financial control, internal and external audit by the Supreme Audit Institution, and then finally, how you assess PFM and how you might go about reforming and modernizing PFM in any given country. So it's, as we said, a comprehensive course. And we also said it's interactive. And the way we've done this, and we're quite pleased with ourselves about this idea, so I shall explain it to you. What we've done is we've taken two completely fictitious small new countries. One is Atlantis, which is presumed to be a small island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And the other is Kangan, which is a small island country in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And those both become independent and therefore have to go through the whole process of setting up their PFM systems and processes. And so that gives us an opportunity to take you as the student through all of the stages that a government has to go through to establish PFM, and it enables us to create quite a lot of numeric examples so that you could actually get practice on doing these things, but in relatively simple situations. We use Atlantis as a demonstration model and Kangan as an exercise for you to complete. And we give you download Excel templates for Kangan as well as the completed solution at the end. I've said you need to get through a series of stages to get the foundation certificate. What exactly are those? Well, there are 4 stages. First of all, you've got to complete each module. By complete each module, I mean that you've got to view the videos and attempt the quizzes. And then you've got to take the progress test at the end of each module, and you've got to pass that. And then at the end of the course, you've got to pass a final exam. Do all of that, and you get a certificate. It's issued electronically. All of the exams and tests that we do are online, what's called objective tests. That goes a bit beyond multiple choice tests. There are various ways that you can do objective testing, but it can be all done online so that you get instant results. And there's no limit on the number of attempts you can make at each of the module tests and the final exam. The reason is that we want you to pass. I mean, this isn't a course where we expect a proportion to fail. We want every diligent, hardworking student to pass the exam at the end and get the certificate. And we want to give you as much opportunity as possible to do that, so you can go back and take the tests again. Each time you do it, you'll get different questions because they're randomly selected from a bank of questions. And eventually, you should be able to pass the test when you've built up sufficient knowledge. We've said that the ICGFM and PFM training have jointly developed these courses, but who are we? I assume some of you know this, but let me just briefly summarize. The ICGFM is a US-based not-for-profit organization of government financial managers from around the world. PF Training Limited is a UK-based company led by professional PFM experts who got many years of experience of teaching PFM both face-to-face and also using e-learning in countries around the world. And we've teamed up to create the courses, both this course, the foundation course, and the diploma course. So how can employers, and I can see quite a few of you who are attending this are actually employers and people who will be responsible for the training, and others are rather than likely students. So how can this course be used by different people? Let me explain this because there's quite a number of different options. So you have the ICGFM Foundation e-learning course, which can be used just as an e-learning course. And a large number of students have done that successfully. I'll give you some numbers in a minute. Have done that successfully and passed the exam. It can also be used in a blending learning approach with face-to-face support by a university or a training institution, a government training institution in a particular country. Or we can make it interactive. We can deliver webinars from anywhere in the world to groups of students so as to help with an interactive process. So it can be used quite flexibly by a number of different types of organizations. Obviously, governments, government ministries, departments, agencies, training institutions within them can use it. It can be used by training for an international organization. That could be either donor organization, or it can be a consulting firm. We can partner with educational institutions and training institutions to deliver a blended learning approach, which we've done. Or, of course, it could be part of a larger PFM program where training is a component within that, and this can provide the training component. And we can adapt this training so that we can incorporate and have incorporated country-specific material into the course, so that it can become a course for a particular company. And we can badge it any way you want to indicate our partnership with the organization which is helping us to develop that local learning material. So it's a very flexible course. It can be used in a number of different ways. Let me just give you a couple of examples of where we've used the course. First of all, in countries, particularly in Somaliland, we trained 197 students who were doing e-learning only, no other support other than e-learning, and 159 of those actually passed and got a certificate. We actually really find that quite remarkable, and it's a real credit to those students in Somaliland, because they were working in a difficult environment, a second language for most students, and on their own, and yet they managed to get this level of results. So we thought that was a very exemplary performance by those students. In Puntland, we used the same course, but we there did it in a blended learning approach with two of the universities in Puntland, where they gave some face-to-face tutorial support to supplement the e-learning. And there we actually got, as you would expect, better results. 81 out of the 84 students were able to complete and pass the course. So those are two examples of it being used in a different way by specific countries. It's also been used by several consulting firms to provide training for their staff. And of course, there are a number of individual students from around the world who have and currently are taking the course to build their own skills in PFM. So the course has been implemented. It is proven to be effective. So what next? Well, obviously what you'd like to do, what you'd like you really to do is to register on the course, or to get your students to register on the course. Besides that, as Laura said, you can ask questions, you can type them in the chat function, or we'll go through them now. Or if we don't answer them today, you can email us and we'll try to answer your questions as soon as possible. So I'm handing over to you.
Okay, great. It wasn't letting me unmute for a moment. All right, fantastic. Well, thanks, Mike, for that overview. I think we have a couple of questions that have come up. How long is the course expected to last for?
We reckon it takes about 50 hours to complete the course, assuming that you start off without any particular detailed knowledge. How long that is really up to you, but most students take 3 to 6 months. Okay,
as a coverage now, there are there are a few PFM courses out there. What makes this different?
Yeah, there's several PFM courses. The one that's been particularly raised is the IMF PFM course, which is very good. Certainly wouldn't criticize that. It's an excellent course. It's very different. The IMF PFM course is different in two ways. First of all, it's by the IMF, and as you would expect, their focus is on fiscal management. So they see PFM, rather than seeing it as a tool of management, they see it as a tool of fiscal management and approach from that point of view. And it's primarily oriented towards policymakers. And so it's a very good course if you're somebody who makes decisions about the levels of taxation or the levels of borrowing a country and want to understand that and want to understand how PFM can help you. It doesn't do what we do, which is go into how PFM works in detail. As they refer to this as the plumbing, it does mention the plumbing, but it doesn't have any numeric examples. So it's very different in that way. There are also courses around professional accountancy qualifications, particularly like CIPFA, which has a foundation, which has a certificate course. And that's for accountants who want to study accountancy and are in the public sector. And it's very much about the detail and procedures of accountancy. And if you study that course at the certificate level, you will just learn about accounting and a bit about management accounting. You won't learn about budgeting, for example. You won't learn about auditing. You won't learn about things like, for example, medium-term expenditure frameworks or treasury single accounts. So all of these courses are good, but they have a different focus to our course. Our course is specifically about PFM in the public sector, and it's aimed at people who want to understand how PFM works.
Thanks, Mike. We have a question from Nathan on how to become a PFM consultant, and I'd ask you to specify that question about how it relates to the course. I'm not sure how to answer that one. Frederick Cooper asks, are you automatically registered for the course once you're on the Zoom, or do you have to register on the platform? You have to register on the platform, and you can go to icgfm.org in order to do that. Joanne, could you post a link in the chat so that it makes it easy for anyone to come? Then Jenny asks, is this currently offered to other Somalian states?
To others, sorry?
Is this currently offered to other Somalian states?
We're thinking specifically about Somalia. No, we're in discussions with the World Bank about doing that, but not at the moment. I think it is very likely that it'll be rolled out, but nothing's happened as yet.
Thank you. I will say I'm a process person and a CPA, and I am in the middle of the course and finding it particularly interesting in how PFM is implemented, which doesn't seem to be answered by a number of the other courses out there, the number of the other short courses out there. There are a couple of other longer diploma courses that go into detail, but they're also not country specific. So I think the approach is quite interesting that PFM Training Limited is working with states to deliver country-specific PFM training. All right, so thank you, Joanne, for the link. We have a question. Do you have a Train the Trainer program?
We've run Training the Trainer programs, yes, we can certainly do that. That would obviously be something we'd have to discuss with an individual organization about how they want to do that.
Okay, great. Phyllis just said anyone from any country is welcome to purchase the course via the link below, or in this case, the link above. Great. So we've got a question from Frederick. Joanne, I think this is for you, asking for the link to officially register to be sent to every participant as well as the video. Yeah.
Yes, I think we will make the video available so anybody can rewatch this video afterwards, and we'll do that as well. And Joanne will be sending out a copy of the handout of the slides that we've used in the course as well, so you can see those afterwards.
Great, thanks, Joanne. That's confirmed from Joanne as well. Do you have a discount for students and PhD students?
No, I mean, we've already reduced the course, so we think it's already very good value for money.
Yeah, I agree. So how long is the course reduced for?
At the moment, until the end of January, and we will announce a new pricing structure after that.
All right, so for any of you who are students, the student discount is available to everybody until the end of January. For everybody on the call, I also recommend that you register, especially at the student rate, but for everyone, with ICGFM. Become a member. We have events and opportunities, and we'll be sending updates regularly on this course as well as the diploma course.
I've got a couple of other questions that people emailed in before, which perhaps I could answer.
Yeah,
one of them was, and yeah, I think to some extent you've answered this, Laura, but they asked that if you're a qualified accountant, as somebody mentioned they're an ACCA qualified accountant, will you benefit from the course? You'll find it quite a lot of it quite easy because you already have basic accounting skills, but you also find quite a lot of it as new because it is so specific about the public sector and the international public sector, which obviously a normal accountancy course won't cover.
Mike, I'll share my experience with that. I spent 4 years studying accounting and did a master's degree in public administration, and this provided new insights for me as well. Not just new information, but also new ways to talk about things, providing the language of PFM that I didn't get previously, whether it be part of my CPA license or master's.
Yeah, so it's wondering for the ICGFM, but they asked, is the ICGFM recognized as a professional body?
So the ICGFM is not a professional body. It is not a certifying organization. It is a membership association where you benefit by participating fully and engaging with fellow PFM specialists from around the world. However, participation in ICGFM is particularly valuable for a number of professionals in that they get to present their ideas and learn how other countries are doing things. It is one of the few organizations that brings together voluntarily groups, including governments, professional bodies, consulting firms, universities. We are an umbrella organization for a number of different organizations that allow us to have a really diverse body of thought.
One of the questions I've got here we've been asked, one was, why does it assume no prior knowledge? And the answer is really in the name. It's a foundation course. Obviously, quite a lot of students who come into it will have some prior knowledge, but we don't know what that knowledge is. And as this is a foundation course, we therefore assume no prior knowledge of the subject area at all.
All right, Mike, you've got another question. In terms of accounting, do you mainly focus on cash or accrual accounting? You mentioned both in your talk, but what would be the proportion in the course as a rough estimate?
Proportion. I've actually worked that out. But we do address both cash and accrual accounting. So we show how government works under a cash basis and how it works under an accrual basis. And we look at the financial reporting under cash and accrual. And we spend some time particularly looking at the International Public Financial Management, the International Public Sector Accounting Standard on cash accounting. We do also look at the accrual accounting standards. We don't go into those in great detail. This is not a course on IPSAS. We talk about IPSAS and what they are, but it is not a course for those who want to understand accrual IPSAS. And I think we should be clear about that.
Daniel Kim says, I understand this is a foundation course, but does it touch on any niche context specific PFM topics? Sequencing PFM reforms in fragile contexts, green PFM, etc.
Yes, is the answer. We do look at sequencing PFM reforms and how you might go about reforms, and we deal with quite a lot of PFM specific topics. I mean, I mentioned the whole area of planning, sectoral strategies, how they can be integrated with the budget process. The process of budget management and commitment management are all areas that are very specific to PFM and wouldn't be in a normal accountancy course.
Thank you. The next question is, if I enroll, when will we start the course? Immediately. You can start as soon as you register.
Yep, it's there now. You can start anytime. There's no particular, we don't have a start and end date. You can register whenever you want to, and you can take up to 1 year to complete the course, where you shouldn't need that long. That's great.
It's quite helpful, I think, especially when workloads are a little bit tight at the end of the year for a number of people, or at the beginning of next year. But this allows for 12 months to manage your work schedule and the opportunity to go through the course. And I will say, Mike and Phil are very responsive when it comes to asking questions about the course. And after taking the course, participating in ICGFM events will be quite an interesting piece, given that we have more and more people who have completed the course. There will be a good group of you who are engaging on some of these specific topics.
Yeah, and we're obviously interested from hearing from anybody. You know, if there are particular subject areas that people want to know about, then we would be interested in hearing from you about your interest in particular areas.
And Mike, I don't want to digress too far, but I will say that part of the difference here is that while you are a training organization, your passion is PFM. Yeah, yes, the presentation will be sent out. Sorry about that. I'm interrupting with a question. But can you give a very brief answer on why you are doing this foundation course now? It's not because it's a big moneymaker, as we see with the pricing compared to other professional courses like this.
Yes, we were asked originally to develop the foundation course for a specific country, and it showed to us that there was really nothing which met this particular requirement, that there was no course available which met this requirement of people needing to understand about PFM particularly and how it works in detail. So we set out to fill that gap. And we think that it's an important contribution to knowledge around the world. And we will be, that's why we're very happy to work with anybody who wants to learn about this, because it's we'd regard it as our mission to spread knowledge and skills and help people, individuals, organizations, and countries enhance their own skills and knowledge in this area.
And I think this has been a good partnership as ICGFM is working toward improving PFM around the world, that this is one of the ways in which we can do this together. Yeah. So for all of you who are looking at better management of public finance, managing the people's purse with more structure and rigor, this allows you the opportunity to test your own country against some of the principles applied in others. Mike, I'm going to let you answer any other questions you have. It looks like we've reached the end of most of the questions. The quick question, do you include the PEFA assessment in your course? And then I'll let you finish it up.
Yes, we do include the PEFA assessment. Again, if you want to know about the PEFA assessment, then the PEFA's own website has got a lot of information on its own course about how you complete a PEFA assessment. But we certainly take account of the PEFA assessment and explain what it is and how it works during this course. Yes, if I could just conclude. So we've now got this course. This is the foundation course. We're also developing a diploma course. In fact, it is actually now complete, which we've already tested in one country, and we will release generally early in 2023. Together, we think that we're beginning to build up a comprehensive training program for countries or individuals. And we emphasize our willingness and interest in working with countries and organizations around the world to deliver this course in ways that are most appropriate for you, and if appropriate, to incorporate country-specific material into the course. We're, as I say, quite flexible about these different approaches. So thank you very much for your time. And as I say, anybody got any other queries, then please do email us. Thank you.